What is sensation and perception?
Well, sensation is the energy that we feel through our sensory organs. We perceive our five senses through sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch.
So right now, I'm using my sense of touch to feel the roughness of the bark of the tree.
Oh, it smells really pleasant.
Using my sense of taste. This is good.
Somebody is calling me. I'm using my senses of hearing to hear who is calling me.
Where is she? Oh!
Yes.
I'm using my sense of sight in order to see my friend.
Perception is how our senses are isolated and understand certain stimulus.
I can feel the rough and moist texture of the grass.
Absolute threshold is the smallest increase of a stimuli for us to notice. Like example, when I clap my hands slowly, nobody will hear, but if I clap louder, then everybody will hear.
Different thresholds is how different two things have to be for you to notice.
For example, she's holding a bag, and I put a binder in one, and a paper in the other. She notices the difference between this bag, and that's different threshold.
So the Weber's law is when two objects in a different threshold are in constant proportion to each other. For example, the people behind me are talking very loudly, and in order for you guys to hear me, I have to talk really loudly.
So we're having some really nice weather today.
Hey Kim!
Hey!
Oh my gosh! Oh, it's hot! Burn me!
Oh, don't worry. Sit down. This is called sensory adaptation. Your body will get used to it after a little while.
Oh yeah, I don't feel any hot anymore. It's good. Oh wow, this park is really bright and colorful.
I don't see it. It's just black and white.
Does this park only look like yellow and blue?
In this park, I only see shades of green and red.
The reason why Alice was colorblind in colors is because the 4 cones in her eye are not functioning correctly. Michelle only saw shades of blue and yellow because her green and red receptor cones are not working. And Brittany only seen shades of green and red because her yellow and blue receptor cones are not functioning properly as well.
In the eye, we see the iris, which is the color of the eye. And if you look in the center of the iris is a pupil, which the light projects through. Right here is a model of the eye, and the retina has receptor cells that perceives colors, and these receptor cells are called cones and rods. Cones perceive color while rods perceive black and white.
So this is how the ear works. Hello? First, the stimuli producing sound waves reaches the outer ear. The sound waves then move into the ear canal. The wave enters the eardrum and it begins to vibrate and hits the small bones in the middle ear. The small bones moving then causes the hammer to hit the cochlea, where fluid and small hair, also known as cilia, are located. The hammer causes the cilia to vibrate, in which creates an electrical impulse that is sent to the brain.
Right now, Alice is spinning, and that causes the otoliths in her ears to move around. When she stops, she experiences sensory conflict and becomes so dizzy she experiences vertigo.
Our sense of smell is also known as olfaction. When Michelle smells the hot Cheetos, the odor goes into the nose and activates the cilia, which is the 10 million receptor cells in our nose. The cells die and reproduce every 5 to 8 weeks. Our sense of taste is also known as gustation. When Michelle eats the hot Cheetos, the 20 receptor cells which are found in the taste buds are activated. The receptor cells are replaced every 10 days.
Our skin senses help us with our sense of touch. An example of our skin senses is touch. Temperature, pressure, and pain. When we feel a sense of touch, the recap for cells scattered throughout our skin are activated when we experience pain. The associated receptors for pain, also known as nucleoceptor, releases substance P, which tells our brain we are experiencing pain. Visceral pain occurs in our organs, while somatic pain occurs in our tendons, joints, muscles, and skin. Our emotions can control the extent of pain.
I bet you can't jump off the swing.
You want a bet?
Yeah, let's see it.
See, I told you I can.
Even though Michelle experienced pain in her knees and feet, when she landed, the joy of her winning the bet overrides the pain. And that is the gate control theory of pain.
When I see your shirt, it gives the flavor of blueberries in my mouth.
Oh, that's nice. It sounds cool.
Yeah.
This wasn't an example of synesthesia. It's when one of our five senses can interact when the other senses are active.
Perceptual constancy is when an image or object we are perceiving appear to be constant and unchanging. As you can see, these pillars look as if there is no opening, but as Asuka walks through, you can see that in fact there is an opening, and she comes right out on the other side. The Gestalt Laws Organization is how our brains take in information and make them meaningful. The first principle under Gestalt Laws Organization is closure, which is how our brain likes to complete and close objects and images that are open and complete. For example, the star is open in certain areas near the corners, but we perceive them as a star because of that.
So proximity is how our brain perceives elements that are close together as groups.
This is an example of that principle. Look to be friends when in actuality they're talking about directions.
Great. So how do I get to LA?
So you go to the 210,
Yeah.
going east, and then you take the 605 going south, and then you take the 10 going to the west. And then it's LA.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo te sientes?
Muy bien, ¿y usted?
Bien. ¿Qué has hecho hoy?
This is similarity, which is how our brain perceives patterns and finds patterns in everyday life and put them in similar categories. So for example, they're speaking Spanish,
¿Y cómo
and our brain recognizes the language and we automatically put them in the category of Spanish and we perceive them as being Mexican. Here we are perceiving Alice reading a book. When we see her reading the book, we automatically think in our brains that she must be smart and studying for a big exam. In actuality, she's just pretending to read. This is called the law of the principle of simplicity, which is our brain goes for the simplest perception because it is busy doing other tasks. Perceptual organization is how our brain's perception relies on our expectation, knowledge, and what we see in our lives. Here, what you're seeing in an image looks like an actual butt, but when you actually look at it from afar, it is my elbow.
So depth perception is like how binocular works. For example, Britney's fingers looks like they're touching the lady's head, but in reality, they're actually not.
Top-down processing is the broad general perception of a stimulus, while bottom-up processing is the recognizing bits and pieces of the stimulus. This right here is an example of bottom-up. And as we go up, we look at different features and try to perceive it as a human body. As we reach the top, we automatically recognizes the face, and we perceive this as being a human. This is an example of top-down. As soon as we see her face, our brain automatically perceives it as being human.